Chapter 1. Imagine this, it's 2:17 a.m. The city is completely silent, streetlights glowing like they're on autopilot. And you're in the one place you're supposed to be safest, your own home, until a small, almost insignificant detail flips a switch in your brain, and suddenly you understand that home can become the most dangerous place of all. I'm telling this story because people between 20 and 40 tend to believe a comforting lie that we're grown, alert, experienced, and not the kind of people who get targeted. And that belief is exactly where things go wrong. This story begins with Emily, 27-year-old living in a quiet town on the outskirts of Chicago, the kind of place where nothing ever really happens, and because of that, no one asks questions. Emily worked remotely as a marketing analyst, living a life made up of a laptop, coffee, and long stretches indoors. She had recently ended a long-term relationship, and for the first time in her adult life, she was living alone. Her apartment wasn't fancy, just clean, quiet, and normal. A second-floor unit facing the parking lot. The exact setup that makes you think you finally found peace. The first 2 weeks were exactly that. Routine mornings, walks, Netflix at night, nothing out of place. Then one day, Emily noticed a dark gray SUV parked in the lot, one she hadn't seen before. It didn't set off alarms in her head. It could have been a new tenant or a visitor. The problem was that it was still there the next day, and the day after that. Sometimes the car was empty. Sometimes someone sat behind the wheel looking at their phone, or maybe not at their phone at all. Emily told herself to stop overthinking, because that's what we all do when the first warning shows up quietly. Then came the night that changed everything. She got home late, around 11:45 p.m., the parking lot nearly empty, and as soon as she stepped out of her car, she felt that cold, irrational sensation that someone was watching her, a feeling that makes no logical sense but feels completely real. Her eyes went straight to the gray SUV. This time the engine was on, the headlights were off, and a dark silhouette was clearly visible inside. She froze for 2 seconds, and in those same 2 seconds the headlights snapped on. Her stomach dropped. The vehicle didn't move. No horn, no sound, just light, like a silent message saying, "Yes, I'm here." Emily didn't look back. She went straight into the building, skipped the elevator, ran up the stairs with shaking hands, and that night she didn't call anyone or tell a single person because she had no proof. From that point on, things stopped being strange and started becoming dangerous. Over the next few days, she noticed the SUV not just at night, but during the day too. Not only outside her apartment, but at the grocery store, outside the gym, near the coffee shop, always at a distance, always positioned in a way that couldn't be proven. She changed her routine, her timing, her routes, but the SUV still appeared now and then, not like it was following her, but like it was studying her. And that's when Emily finally understood. This wasn't coincidence, it was only the beginning. Chapter 2. The first thing Emily did was try to regain control, because when fear creeps in quietly, the instinct isn't to panic, it's to rationalize. She bought pepper spray, double-checked the locks, started keeping her blinds half closed even during the day, and told herself that awareness was the same thing as safety. For a short while, that illusion worked, until the SUV stopped being something she only saw outside and started bleeding into the rest of her life. It began with small details that were easy to dismiss. A notification on her phone from a delivery app she hadn't opened yet, an ad that referenced a place she'd just visited, the unsettling sense that her movements were predictable to someone other than herself. Then one afternoon, while working at her desk, she noticed something that made her chest tighten. The SUV was parked farther back than usual, almost hidden, and for the first time she was certain the driver wasn't on their phone but looking up, directly toward her window. She moved away from the glass slowly, heart pounding, and waited, counting minutes, but the car didn't leave. That night she made her first mistake. She told herself she needed proof before involving anyone else. A few days later, while leaving the gym early because she felt sick to her stomach, she spotted the SUV again, parked across the street, and this time when she pulled out, it pulled out too. Not close enough to be obvious, but close enough to be intentional. She drove longer than necessary, took turns she didn't need to take, and eventually the SUV disappeared, which somehow felt worse than if it had followed her all the way home. That was the night she finally called the non-emergency police line, her voice steady but rehearsed, carefully choosing words that wouldn't make her sound paranoid. The officer was polite, almost kind, but his questions had an edge to them, circling back to the same conclusion. Unless the person did something illegal, there wasn't much that could be done. He suggested she document everything, keep records, take photos if possible, and call back if it escalated. When a patrol car eventually drove through the lot, the SUV was gone. For about a week after that, Emily slept a little easier, convincing herself that being noticed by the police had scared whoever it was away, until one morning she opened her apartment door and saw a single folded piece of paper on the floor, placed just inside her entryway like it had been left with care. Written in plain handwriting were 7 words that erased any doubt she had left. You should really close your blinds at night. Chapter 3. Emily moved out 2 weeks later, not because she wanted to, but because staying had started to feel like waiting for something bad to happen. She didn't argue with herself anymore about whether she was overreacting. That note had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. She packed in silence, left furniture behind, paid the lease penalty without hesitation, and told herself that distance would be enough to end it. For a while it almost worked. Back at her parents' house, surrounded by familiar sounds and locked doors that weren't hers alone, the fear dulled into something manageable, something that only showed up at night. Then one evening, driving home from the gym on a route she rarely took, she saw it again, a dark gray SUV parked on a side street, engine off, windows dark, close enough to recognize without any doubt. It didn't follow her, didn't move at all, and somehow that made it worse, because it meant it didn't need to. Emily never saw the driver's face, never got answers, and never found proof strong enough for anyone else to act on. But the damage was already done. She learned that safety isn't always about locked doors or new addresses, and that sometimes the scariest stories don't end with closure. They end with awareness, because once you realize you're being watched, you never really stop looking over your shoulder.